Merlin Chapter 6, The Triple Goddess. So let's continue from where we stop. Elves approached Merlin and Alba. Their movements were graceful and they seemed to dance around one another. They quickly cleared away the food and replenished the water jug. A large shallow stone basin was set on the rug between Merlin and Alba. One of the elves poured clear water into the basin and then, bowing to Merlin, then Alba, they left them alone. Water from the Lake of Avalon has great power and can be used to help those who see, explained Alba. I'm not a seer, Merlin said, looking at the water. Your powers are great, but unless you believe in yourself they are useless. Your power of prophecy is second only to your power of sorcery. You do not know what you can achieve until you try, she said. Merlin recognized his own words to Arthur and sighed. He looked up at Alba and nodded. Show me, he said, moving closer to the basin. Look into the water and you will see the three sisters of the Triple Goddess. Merlin looked into the water and heard Alba's voice in his mind. He saw each sister as she described them. There are three aspects to her nature, three sisters that are very different from each other and are always fighting to dominate the others. The eldest sister, Gaia, is the light and she fights for all that is good. She gave mortals the gift of magic as she believes in the goodness in the heart of men. She chooses those who shall promise the chance to learn her secrets. She does not want power over mortals, only acceptance and understanding. She tries to help those that will bring peace to the earth and allow life to flourish. Those with magic are servants of the light and the earth. They were given magic to continue her work, to fight the evil in the heart of men, to heal wounds and bring peace to the lands. He saw Gaia in the basin, a white light that turned into a tall human figure, similar in height and face to the elves. He saw her healing humans and animals, with the same tender care. He watched as she tended the earth, sowing seeds, weeding and watering the plants. She watched over all living things, keeping them from harm. The water became cloudy and he was once more aware of Alba's voice. Her sister, Kate, is the dark. She fights for all that is evil. She is full of hate and spite and despises men who she believes are weak and not worthy of their world they walk on. She encourages evil thoughts and deeds in mortals so they will bring about their own destruction. She encourages men to worship her so she can control them. She was furious with her sister for giving magic to mere mortals and punished her by corrupting those her sister had carefully chosen. She makes them believe that they are better than those without magic and that they should rule not serve. She wants those with magic to be hated and feared so those who try to continue her sister's work will perish. He saw a dark shadowy figure, small and twisted but the face was hidden. He saw lands ruled by dark magic where those without magic were enslaved and those with magic laughed at their plight. He saw a great sorcerer burn the lands of those who defied him, women, children, and the very earth is tormented. He then saw those with magic being hunted and burned while darkness covered the lands. The water cleared again and he saw a young child running through the trees. He became aware of Alba's voice in his head once more. The youngest sister, Nina, is ignorant. She does not care for mortals at all. She only wishes to follow her own path and do as she pleases. She has no desire to rule or serve and she enjoys playing her sisters against each other. She is mischievous but can be cruel and likes to play games for her own amusement. She will help Kate when it serves her purpose, but she will also help Gaia too. It was Nina that suggested Arthur's mother's life should be given in return for Arthur's son. It was also Nina that sent Kate on an errand, while you saved your queen at the cauldron. Although the child looked innocent and carefree, her face was older and full of mischief. He watched as she drew the hunt away from a family of deer deeper into the woods until they have lost the trail and laughed when they gave up the hunt. The scene changed and he saw her digging a hole in the ground which she covered with branches and laughed when a deer fell in it and broke its leg. He then saw all three of the sisters, the light, the dark and the ignorant. They were woven around each other, one or the other coming to the surface then falling away. Why are you showing me this? Merlin asked. He looked up at Alba. He still doesn't understand what this has to do with him or Arthur. The white goddess strives to keep her sister from destroying their world of men. When those with magic are hated and feared, the light becomes weaker and the dark stronger. If Arthur is to live, you will need to convince him that magic is not evil. Your powers will be needed to save all that you both hold dear, she said, looking at Merlin. Arthur wished to build a kingdom that was fair and just, where everyone was respected regardless of rank or beliefs, Merlin said, looking at her. But after all that Morgana has done, I'm not sure that he will allow sorcery back into Camelot. If you do not want Kate to prevail, he must. Look back into the basin, she said. Merlin looked back into the water and once again heard Alba's voice in his mind. Morgana was brought up to hate and fear those with magic, and so she hated and feared her own power. Morgause taught Morgana the ways of the old religion and made her a high priestess. They believed Kate's lies that their power made them superior to those without magic. The Dark Goddess does not care for Morgana. She despises all mortals with magic and wishes to destroy all those that have her sister's gift. Morgana's hate of Arthur and desire for the throne of Camelot caused more men to hate and fear sorcery. This made the dark stronger, and for a while Kate became the dominant sister. When Kate took control, she sent the rune mark to Arthur. If he had accepted her terms, all would have been lost. When Arthur refused, light became dominant once more and Kate became determined to bring down your king. He now saw Morgana in a small room. The room had no furniture and the walls were bare stone. Morgana was sitting on the floor with her eyes closed, surrounded by candles. She was holding something and a blue light radiated from her hands. Then a dark cloud swirled around her until it covered her completely. The water went black and Merlin could hear maniac laughter. The water cleared and Merlin looked up at Alba. I should have helped Morgana. I understood how lonely she must have felt, said Merlin. You did what you thought was right and that is all you could do. Morgana chose her own path. No matter how strong your destiny, you always have a choice. I still don't understand what this has to do with me, Merlin said. We are nearly finished. Look into the water once more and you will see something to help you understand, she replied, looking down at the basin. He looked again and saw a woman crying. She held her rounded belly and Merlin understood that she was pregnant. A letter was crumpled on the table before her. She had received word that the father of her unborn child was believed to be dead. That's my mother, he said, looking at Alba. Your mother always knew you were special. Looks back into the water so you may begin to understand your destiny. Merlin looked back into the water. His mother was now sleeping, the tears drying on her cheeks. She looked old. Even in sleep her face was full of care. A white light appeared in the room and covered her and her face softened. She smiled and wrapped her arms around her belly and slept peacefully. The scene changed and he saw a small child sleeping on a great bed. He recognized the room. It was Arthur's old chambers. Arthur was asleep at the table with his head on his hands. Merlin realized that the child was Arthur. He saw the same white light appear. It hovered above the child, covering him, then disappeared. Merlin looked up at Alba. His face had gone white. The bond between you and Arthur is far stronger than you realize, Merlin. The White Goddess could not save Arthur's mother, but she could save her child from the evil her sacrifice would cause. She bound you and Arthur so you could fight the dark, and your love for each other is stronger than you know. You are both touched by the same hand, and like the sisters of the Triple Goddess, your bond cannot be broken. Merlin didn't know what to say. We are nearly done and I think you are beginning to understand, she said. I have shown you what has always been. Now look and see what will be. Merlin looked back down into the water. He saw himself sitting at the round table with Arthur. They were deep in conversation, but he couldn't hear what they were talking about. Next he saw Arthur alone. He was writing on a piece of parchment. He had written Sir Me and then paused as Gwen appeared in the room. You are making a sorcerer a knight? She asked, smiling. I think he deserves it. Don't you? He replied. I always have. I'm so pleased that he will now get the recognition he deserves after all he has done for us. The scene changed and now they were in the council chambers. Arthur was speaking before the court. My father was wrong to outlaw magic. I know now that magic is not evil. His voice fades and then comes back. It is sorcerers, like Cornelius Sigan and Morgana, who use magic for evil purposes that caused the war on sorcery. His voice faded again and the water cleared. Merlin looked up at Alba. He was beginning to understand his destiny, but the knowledge that he had failed came back to him. Is this what would have happened if I had not let Arthur die? This is your destiny, Merlin. This has been written long before you or Arthur walked the earth. This is what the druids seer and prophets saw, and where the druids first heard your name. The druids call me Emrys, but that is not my name, said Merlin, frowning. That piece of paper is your seal. Arthur makes you a knight. The druid seer saw the same vision in a mirror, where Arthur had only written those first 5 letters, and seen through a mirror they spelt Emrys. In the druid tongue, Emrys means immortal, and although you are not truly immortal, you have power over life and death. The druids knew that if ever a sorcerer was made a knight of Camelot, then the white goddess would prevail and magic would be accepted once again. You are the one that will unite the powers of the old religion and the new, and bring about the time the poets speak of. The time of Albion. I think I'm beginning to understand, Merlin said. He looked down at the basin and saw that the water had gone. Alba stood up and held her hand out to Merlin. Is all this still possible, or am I too late? He asked, taking Alba's hand and rising to his feet. We shall see, she said, and turned towards an elf walking towards them. He was wearing a long silver cloak over his white robes. He looked very similar to Alba, but his hair was shorter and he was not as slender as the female elf. May I have permission to speak, my lord? He asked, kneeling before Merlin. Of course, and please rise, said Merlin, feeling uncomfortable at this tall elf bowing before him. The elf stood before Merlin and he no longer seemed so tall. Merlin realized that the elves could change their appearance to look less intimidating, if they wished. I see you feel uncomfortable as a leader, Merlin, Alba said. I'm a servant, I do not expect others to bow before me, he said, feeling awkward and embarrassed. You can be both a servant and a leader. You wish to serve Arthur, and yet Arthur is but a servant of his people. As long as you treat those who serve you with love and honor, do not deny them their desire. There is no shame in serving a good man, you know this. Merlin looked at Alba and the elf stood before him. I am sorry, he said, looking at the elf. What is your name? My name is Astra, and I bring you news about your friend. We have healed his body and his spirit rests. May I see him? Merlin asked. Not yet, Alba said. There is someone else that wishes to speak with you first, if you will. Merlin looked at her and nodded. Thank you, he said to Astra, who bowed to Merlin, then Alba, and walked away back through the trees. Merlin watched him as he left the clearing. What do you want me to do? He sighed and looked up at the sky, hoping perhaps to find answers there. His destiny weighed heavily on his shoulders. There is one who can call his spirit back and let Arthur return, but a price must be paid. Alba took his arm and led him back towards the circle of stones. I know that the gatekeeper of the spirit world requires a life for a life, Merlin said as he walked next to Alba. Arthur's spirit has not yet made the journey to the spirit world. His spirit is still here on Avalon. It is only the white goddess that can call your king's spirit back to his body, but she needs your help, Merlin. They had returned to the entrance of the standing stones. What is it she wants me to do? He asked, looking up at the great stones before him. I can go no further. If you wish to save Arthur, you must speak with the white goddess alone. Merlin turned to walk along the path between the stones. Alba touched his arm and he turned towards her. It has been an honor to meet with you, Merlin. I will wait here in the hope that you will soon return. Thank you, though the honor is mine. Merlin looked at her closely. Alba, I have a feeling there is more you wish to say. Please tell me. You are truly powerful to read the thoughts of an immortal. Alba smiled, but it was sad and there were tears in her eyes. Please tell me what is troubling you. I serve the white goddess, and like you and Arthur, we are bound together. If the white goddess falls, then the elves will die. I am also bound to your world and would not see it die. I cannot say any more, as your will must be your own. You must do what you feel in your heart to be right, Merlin, that is all we ask. I'll do what I can, he said. He turned back to the path. The crystal was glowing, and to the right of the stone table he saw a white light forming. He took a deep breath and walked towards the light. Alba watched Merlin until the light swallowed him. She sat on the grass by the entrance, waiting for him to return. So thank you for watching. Please do not forget to like our video. Then subscribe my channel.